ex-husband Ozan became a billionaire overnight. I fainted on the spot. At the press conference, he thanked me for inspiring him. At work, I overheard two men talking about Ozan's ex-wife. They said how could he marry such a terrible woman, and that she even asked him for money after the divorce. I couldn't take it anymore. I smashed the card reader at him. At the police station, the man said he didn't know why he got hit. I said he insulted me to my face, and I told him I am Ozan's ex-wife. He didn't believe me. He said he wouldn't settle unless I called Ozan, but I'd rather go to jail than let Ozan see me like this. Just then, my best friend called him. She begged him to help. He said it was none of his business. I waited for the judge. Suddenly Ozan showed up. I couldn't believe my eyes. I wanted to thank him, but he said, "Don't bother me again." I got mad. I said, "I didn't call you. If you hadn't spread rumors, none of this would have happened." We parted on bad terms. The next day he called me. He wanted to meet. I pretended I was busy, but he set the time and place, then hung up. I rushed to buy a dress, got my hair done, and went to see him with confidence. At his office, I apologized for yesterday. He paused, then put a contract in front of me. He said if I signed, I'd get money, and we'd never have to see each other again. Then he handed me a check. I froze. He said, "Isn't this what you want? Didn't you call me because I'm rich now?" I picked up the pen, signed my name, then tore the check into pieces and threw it in his face. I walked away. In the hall, I bumped into an employee. Coffee spilled all over me. A man asked if I was okay, and I broke down. I cried and said I stood by him when he had nothing, and now I have nothing. The man teased me, saying I cry too quietly. I laughed through tears. I thanked him and left. He turned out to be Ozan's friend. The next day, my brother went to see Ozan. He buttered him up. Ozan saw through him. Still, he gave him a check. My brother was thrilled. As he walked down the street, he ran into loan sharks chasing him. They dragged him to a deserted place. Seeing he was about to be buried alive, he had no choice but to pay off his debt. When I found out my brother took money from Ozan, I decided to confront Ozan. I asked him why he gave my brother money. He said I was just putting on a show in front of him. I promised to pay the money back. He said he didn't care. As I walked out, a job ad caught my eye. A crazy idea came to me. I told my best friend, I'll make Ozan fall in love with me again. Then I'll destroy him. Soon, Ozan's mom moved next door. She wanted to show off. She greeted me with fake warmth. Every word and gesture was flaunting money. I said, "If you fall in water, can all that jewelry save you?" Then I walked away. She cursed me from behind. The next day, I went to interview at Ozan's company. I was nervous. All the girls were young and pretty. Then that man appeared again. Seeing a familiar face calmed me. During the interview, Ozan walked in. I panicked. I turned my back to him. I tried to leave, but he called out to me. He asked why I wanted to quit. I had no choice but to face him. He froze. The interviewer asked if I wanted to stay. He shook his head. I sat down anyway. To scare me, he asked hard questions. I answered every one. The panel gave me high scores. Back in his office, his assistant handed him the rankings. I was number 1. He crumpled my resume in anger. Then he started complaining about me to his assistant. The assistant actually said he looked kind of scared of me. Ozan was left speechless. He dug my resume out of the trash. He thought about it for a while, then signed it. The next day, I got the job offer. I couldn't believe it. On my first day working at my ex-husband's company, he made trouble for me. He asked me to buy milk tea for more than 10 people, but for me that was nothing. I even remembered everyone's flavor and preference. Even his secretary was impressed. After the meeting, I was about to leave. He stopped me, told me to pick up his dry-cleaned clothes. I was mad, but I didn't dare lose my temper. I took the clothes to his top-floor apartment. He wasn't home, so I started looking around. The place was spotless, like no woman ever visited. Then I saw it. A crystal ball on the shelf. The first gift I ever gave him. He once swore he would keep it forever. Suddenly, he walked in. I asked why he still had it. He said he just forgot to throw it away. I asked if he really wanted to erase all our memories. We ended up fighting again. In the restroom, I overheard the sales champion this month could have dinner with the president. I came up with a revenge plan. I worked overtime to get my order. He asked why I skipped dinner. I said I was closing a deal with the biggest local company. He laughed in my face, said I'd never pull it off. The next morning, the client called. They agreed to sign. I jumped up with joy. I ran to report it to the secretary, but in truth, his best friend was helping me behind the scenes. That night, I dressed up carefully. I put on his favorite dress, sprayed his favorite perfume. I wanted him to fall for me again, and then I would be the one to walk away. At the restaurant, he was already waiting. When the food came, I saw him smile. The whole table was filled with dishes I hated. After a few bites, I started itching, sneezing nonstop. I asked if there was onion in the food. The waiter said.
Menü ama kaldıralım o zaman.
I saw him smirk. I forced myself to stay calm. Later, we went to the bar. The PR team wanted photos of us together. The photographer asked us to stand closer. The atmosphere suddenly turned subtle. We both felt a bit awkward. I quickly changed the subject. Said when we got married, we were poor. I always cooked at home. He said luckily my cooking was good. We laughed, remembering the past. Then he offered to take me somewhere. We drove to a huge villa. He asked me how I liked it. I asked.
Çok güzelmiş.
He told me to look carefully. I saw the fireplace, the rocking chair. It was the dream house we once talked about. He promised to buy me one someday. I thought it was a surprise for me. But then he said, "You're only back because I'm rich now." I asked him, "Are you bringing me here just to get back at me?" He said, "Everything I have belongs only to the one who never abandons me, and not to someone like you." I didn't say a word. I just walked away. I was heartbroken, but I will never stop. For revenge, I posted a video of my ex Ozan chasing me. It went viral in the office. When he arrived, he noticed everyone's strange looks. I walked up to greet him on purpose. He was totally confused. Only when his assistant showed him the video, he finally understood. Soon after, I got his call. He asked if I did it. Of course, I denied it. I hung up right away. Later, I followed him. I saw him enter the elevator. I slipped in too. I knew he was allergic to pollen, so I held a bunch of flowers up to his face. He rushed out of the elevator. During the meeting, he kept sneezing. I asked if he was sick. I even poured him water. He snapped and told me to drink it myself. After the meeting, he texted me to meet on the rooftop. When I got there, I shut the glass door so no one would hear us. He was still scratching. I teased him, asking if he felt better. He grabbed me.
Bilerek yaptın değil mi? Ha?
I shot back, "I just gave you a taste of your own medicine." He was furious and said he would fire me. I asked, "Why should you fire me?" I turned to leave, but the door wouldn't open. He sighed. "This door only opens from the inside." I told him to call someone, but neither of us had our phones. We were stuck until night. I mocked him. The boss goes missing and no one even notices. He told me to shut up, not to test his patience. When I saw him scratching his neck non-stop, I stepped forward to stop him. I checked his rash. He snapped, "It's your fault anyway." But when he saw me shivering, he still took off his jacket. I stayed silent. He had to put it on me himself. Suddenly he asked, "Did you really love me before?" I looked into his eyes. I didn't know what to say. Then the balcony door opened.
Ne yapıyorsunuz burada?
We both froze, embarrassed. We made up an excuse and left. Thinking about how he gave me his jacket, I felt a little guilty. When he opened the door and saw me again, he looked shocked. I told him I brought ointment, and he might not reach his back. Seeing him sit there, I told him to take off his shirt. Looking at his body, I took a deep breath. I didn't know where to look. As I applied the medicine, he kept scolding me. I said, "You made me allergic last time too." When I was about to leave, I got a call from Shinar, his close friend. He was worried about me disappearing today. Ozan paced around me. When I hung up, he asked why Chinar was calling me. I said he just cares. Not everyone is cold like you. One day, Chinar invited me to a coworker's birthday party, but I refused because I had to help my mom. My mom told me to dress up and go. At the party, all my colleagues were there. Both Ozan and Chinar kept staring at me. Chinar boldly said I looked beautiful. I saw Ozan's face change. Later, Chinar invited me for a drink. When I went to the bathroom, Ozan pulled me aside. He asked why I was so close to Chinar. I laughed and said, "You're jealous, right?" He said, "I just don't want office romance." At that moment, Chinar came looking for me. He thought I got lost. We hid inside a closet. He didn't see me and left. Pressed close together, the air between us suddenly shifted. I woke up. I found myself in my ex-husband Ozan's bed, but luckily, he was not there. I walked out awkwardly. I saw he already made breakfast. He even prepared medicine for my hangover. I was about to thank him, but he said, "Finish eating and leave." Then he walked away without looking back. Still, he left me a new dress. The next day, I was about to go out with Shinar, but I got a call from a colleague. They asked me to come back and take meeting notes. In the meeting room, Ozan said, "So they sent you." I said, "Hurry up, I have other work to do." I felt he was acting strange. He kept stealing glances at me.
Çınar'la da işinizi böldüm ama beraber baş başa gidecektiniz ya.
I finally realized it was him who set me up to come back. He denied it, but every time he lies, he spreads his hands like he is innocent.
Ya ne alakası var Esra?
I said, "You are jealous," but he refused to admit it, so I asked to check his phone. As we fought for his phone, our colleague walked in with the client. I stood up in panic and left. The next day, colleague Chala said the client wanted her and the boss to take wedding photos. I thought it was ridiculous. Why not hire a professional model? Chala said if the boss refused, the client would cancel the deal. Ozan thought for a moment. Then he agreed. Çağla smiled and said she looked forward to shooting wedding photos with him. Back at the office, colleagues praised them as a perfect couple. They even said Çağla was better than Ozan's ex-wife. Hearing that, I was furious. I told them, stop gossiping during work. I went outside to get some air. On the way, I ran into Ozan. Seeing him made me angrier. I told him, you treat everyone well except me. A man who ignores his wife's feelings. Yet he is asked to endorse a wedding. It is a joke. On the shooting day, I had just bought coffee, but everyone stared at me. I explained I was late because of traffic. Then I saw the secretary looking at me with satisfaction. Turns out, Çağla had a skin allergy. She could not shoot that day. They wanted me to replace her. When I put on the wedding dress and walked out, Ozan and Çınar kept staring at me. Çınar asked Ozan if he could be the groom. He even said I was the most beautiful bride he had ever seen. During the photo shoot, we were very awkward. The photographer asked us to stand closer. He told us to look happy. So I showed my signature fake smile. The photographer was frustrated. He asked the secretary to change models. Çınar quickly calmed him down. He explained how important the shoot was. We finally agreed. The photographer told us to look at each other, just like we were really married. Suddenly, I remembered my real wedding. How sweet I had smiled back then. Thinking of those memories, I finally smiled. Even after the shoot ended, we still looked at each other. The secretary reminded us. We came back to reality. The shoot was a big success. I stood aside, waiting to go home. Suddenly, Ozan rushed over and pulled me into his arms. I opened the door. I saw my ex-husband holding hands with the woman who liked him. I left in silence. On the way, I met Ozan's assistant. I begged him not to tell Ozan I had taken care of him. The day my ex-husband left the hospital, the company gave me a shopping list. I went to Ozan's home to prepare. I complained the company bought so much food, but none of it was what he liked. I poured myself coffee, but I spilled it on my clothes. While drying them, I heard a sound outside. I rushed into the closet. Ozan came home with Çağla. I heard them laughing in the living room. I was furious. Then Ozan said he would go change clothes. I tried to hide, but he found me. He asked, "Why are you here?" I said the company sent me with gifts. He said I knew you would never come on your own. Çağla asked if he needed help. He said he could handle it and told me to stay quiet. He changed clothes. Then he sent Çağla away. When she left, I stormed out. I said, "Sorry for interrupting your date." He said, "You wear my clothes, drink my coffee, yet act so arrogant." I said, "I bought all that food for you." He said, "I saved your life and you never said thank you." We argued louder and louder. I turned to leave. He stopped me. He said, "Are you going to work dressed like that?" I realized what he meant. I grabbed my dress and went to change. Soon, Ozan was outside urging me to hurry. I came out annoyed. I said, "The zipper is stuck." He said, "Let me help."
Tut şunu şuradan şöyle tut. Bir de buradan tut.
Hadi bakalım çek. Çek, ben bekliyorum.
Our eyes met. I rushed away, embarrassed. He suddenly asked, "Did you buy the sugar mandarins?" I said, "I only followed the list." He didn't believe me. He wanted to see the list. I lied and said I had thrown it away. Then I ran out the door. The next day at work, he told me he was bringing a girl home. He told me not to be seen. I was furious. After work, I waited outside my home. I wanted to see who it was. I took my brother to cut his power, but my dad caught us. My brother betrayed me. My dad said I should stand guard. He and my brother went to the breaker. He cut it with pliers. The whole street went dark. Soon, Ozan found me. He asked why I always did such childish things. I denied it. I told him to go back to Çağla. He laughed. He said, "So you're jealous." I said, "You forbid office romance, yet you flirt with other women. It's unfair." Ozan walked away. I chased after him. I said, "How could I be jealous of a man I don't love?" I regretted it the moment I said it. He said I was heartless. I wouldn't thank him, even if he saved my life. Then he left. The next day, he told his secretary to cancel all plans. He said he had a date. I overheard. I decided to follow him. I followed him to a mansion. He was laughing with someone. I was furious. Then my taxi left. I ran after it. He spotted me and asked why I was there. I said I was just walking by. We started arguing again. An old man came out. He was Ozan's teacher. He recognized me as Ozan's ex-wife. He said Ozan often mentioned me. That night, Ozan wanted to talk, but I stayed silent. It was cold outside. I was shivering. He offered me a coat. I refused and pulled one from my bag. When he saw it, he asked if I had visited him in the hospital. I admitted it. He got angry. He asked why I never told him after doing so much. I avoided his eyes. I said there were too many bugs. On the way home, he stopped the car. He said, "We won't leave until we talk." I honked. He didn't move. I got out of the car. He asked why I followed him. I said I thought he was meeting Çağla. He laughed. Then he asked about the hospital. I said, "You held her hand like that." What was I supposed to think? Ozan looked at me and laughed. He said, now I got the answer I wanted. He told me to get in the car. When we reached home, he said he and Chala were only friends. I said I knew, but inside, I was happy. That night I had a strange dream. I covered my mouth in shock. What was happening to me? The intern I worked with turned out to be the son of a company shareholder. I was shocked. During the meeting, that messy intern Shinar turned into a powerful CEO. He walked straight to the head seat and announced he would run the company from now on. In the meeting, he kept going against Ozan. The tension was strong. After the meeting, I brought the documents to Shinar. Before I finished, I got a text from my ex-husband. I rushed to his office, but he only asked me to buy drinks. Soon after, I got another text from Shinar. I went to his office right away. He said he needed an assistant. He wanted me to help him. Hearing about a promotion, I was secretly happy. Close to the end of the day, Ozan asked me to dinner. I said I had already agreed to eat with Shinar. He got upset and said no. I asked why. He said I had an important report left. He told me to meet him in the conference room. That night, I sat with crossed legs, eating an apple, while Ozan wrote the report. He asked how it felt. I nodded with satisfaction.
Baya bütün sunum dosyasını bana yazdırdın.
Ne yapayım? Bu gece bitecek diyen sensin.
Suddenly, he spun me around. He told me to check his writing. I said no one knew better than him. Soon he finished the report. I could finally leave, but heavy rain started. Ozan said he would drive me home. Then Shinar called. Ozan grabbed my phone and threw it away. I was speechless. I ran to pick it up. I asked if he was crazy.
Ne yapayım, ne söylememi istiyorsun? Evet! Seni gibi kıskanıyorum seni. Bunu mu duymak istiyorsun?
I froze. I said, didn't you say you didn't love me? He said he never forgot me and always loved me. I didn't know what to say. I tried to leave, but he pulled me into his arms. The next day at work, I found a pot of white daisies on my desk. There was a card. I loved it. Then I opened the box of chocolates and ate one. Suddenly Ozan appeared behind me. He stole a kiss. I asked if he wasn't afraid of being seen. He said he didn't care. He asked if I liked the flowers. I said I liked the flowers and the chocolates. He froze. Just then, Chinar walked over. He asked if I liked the chocolates, and he would buy them for me every day. I quietly put them down. I said I had to start work. Soon after, Chala called me to her office. When I arrived, she was holding Ozan's arm. After he left, she thanked me for picking the gift. She said Ozan loved it. He wore it all the time. She kept saying she would marry him one day. I was speechless. I said I had work and left. I went straight to Ozan's office. His assistant left the room. He tried to hug me. I avoided him. I grabbed his arm and said the watch looked nice. He agreed. I asked who gave it to him. He said it was from Chala. I asked who picked it out. He guessed it was me. He said no wonder he didn't want to take it off. I shook off his hand. I told him to just be with her. Seeing I was angry, he took off the watch. He threw it aside. Then he whispered in my ear.
Ne saati ne kolyesi Esra'ya. Benim tek derdim seni görebilmek. Seninle vakit geçirmek.
I looked at him. Suddenly, the secretary rushed in. During the meeting, my CEO ex-husband kept trying to hold my hand. I pulled my hand away fast. I moved a little to the side. He leaned closer. He grabbed my hand again. I had no choice but to get up and leave. I gave him a warning look. He made a heart sign with his hand. He smiled happily. The secretary asked if he was happy with the project. He lied with a serious face. After the meeting, I entered the elevator. He followed me again. He held my hand once more. I was scared co-workers in front would see. He pulled me into a meeting room and asked why I kept avoiding him. I said we had to keep distance at work. Hearing someone outside, I rushed out. I ran into his assistant. I asked if Ozan had plans tonight. I wanted to surprise him. The assistant said he was free. I told him to keep it secret. After work, I called Ozan and told him I had a surprise at home. He said he was coming right away. While I was cooking dinner, he suddenly appeared behind me. He even bought me a new phone. I kissed him happily. At dinner, I told him I would not be his friend's assistant. I liked my current job. He held my hand with joy. Then his phone rang. It was the woman who liked him. He had promised to have dinner with her, but he forgot. He said he would rush to the restaurant. I knew he always kept his promises. Even if I was upset, I had to let him go. Frustrated, I went to my best friend to vent. I said that woman just wanted Ozan, but he was too dumb to see it. I was upset because he went to another woman. My friend teased me. She said I was the one who planned to teach him a lesson. We talked about my old plan. I said I wanted him to fall in love with me again. Then I would dump him. I wanted him to pay the price. The next day at work, Ozan walked in holding Chala's hand. She announced they would marry soon. My head almost exploded. I couldn't believe it. She mocked me and asked if I wouldn't bless them. I walked over, hugged her, numb inside. I suddenly felt Ozan like a stranger. I ran away from the crowd. I felt I could faint any second. Sinar appeared. He helped me sit and rest. I decided to confront Ozan. I went to his house. He asked why I came. I pushed him, angrily. I asked what was going on. Why treat me like this? He looked at me quietly. He said nothing. I broke down. He said he just wanted me to feel his pain. I begged again and again. I hoped he was lying, but he was firm. He told me to get out. I would make him regret it. Later, I went to Chinar's office. I told him I agreed to be his assistant. I signed the contract. The next day, Chinar called me. He knew I was sad. He wanted to take me out. We went to the beach. We ate ice cream and talked. Then he got a call. He said tonight we would have a free fancy dinner. Hearing it was free, I agreed. But he brought me back to his house. Thinking of running into his sister Chala, I refused. He offered to drive me home, but his father saw us. He invited me to dinner. I had no choice but to agree. While we chatted in the garden, Chala came home with Ozan. At dinner, Shinar's father noticed the bad mood. He said the brothers would soon be one family. Why fight? Ozan stood up. He said he was going to the restroom. Just then, my best friend called me. She told me Ozan acted this way because he overheard our talk that night. I rushed to find Ozan. When he came out, I pulled him aside. I explained fast. I said at first I did want revenge, but later everything changed. I wanted to be with him. He cut me off. He said we were over. Then he walked back. He told everyone I was his ex-wife. My revenge on my ex-husband has begun. When I saw him walking toward me, I turned my head. At the office, everyone got his wedding invitation. I looked at it, and memories rushed back. We once picked invitations together. He promised to love me forever. What a joke. My ex's fiancé tried to play nice with me. She said we don't need to fight. I agreed. She asked me to go meet a client with her, because her assistant was busy today. I said yes. When we were about to leave, the client called. The meeting was canceled. I was ready to go home, but she asked me to go to the wedding venue with her. She said my ex was too busy to help her prepare. I couldn't say no, so I agreed. At the venue, my ex showed up too. Seeing them hug made my heart sink. I said, since the groom is here, I'll leave. But she stopped me. She said, you're his ex-wife. You must know his taste. I looked at him, memories flooding in. Back then, we were poor. We never had a wedding. I thought love was enough. He swore to take care of me forever. Tears filled my eyes. At that moment, she wrapped her arms around him. She kissed him right in front of me. I turned away, heartbroken. That night, I saw his car parked outside my house. I stormed over. I asked, why are you here? He said, my car can park anywhere. I told him, stop staring at me. Leave now. Then I walked away. On his wedding day, I didn't go. I went to the beach alone. Suddenly, he appeared behind me. I asked, aren't you supposed to be at your wedding? He asked me, what happened to our baby? My best friend told him the truth. I had no choice but to explain. Back then, we barely had money to live. He only cared about work. I didn't know if I should keep the baby. He blamed himself. He said he ignored my feelings. I told him, the day I planned to tell you, my stomach hurt so bad I fainted. When I woke up, the baby was gone. He hugged me tight. He said I should have told him. I shook my head and tried to leave. He pulled me back, but it was already too late. After that, I threw myself into work. In 1 week, I closed several projects. My co-workers admired me. One day, Chinar, the shareholder's son, found me. He said there's a big project overseas. He wanted me to go with him. I hesitated. He told me to think about it. When we walked into the company, we saw my ex and his wife, back from their honeymoon. Chinar hugged his sister warmly. I saw the ring on my ex's hand. My heart ached. Back at my desk, a co-worker asked me to bring papers to my ex's office. I dropped them off and turned to leave. But he stopped me. He asked why I didn't answer his calls. I warned him, you're a married man now. I won't be the other woman. Then I walked out. That night, Chinar took me to meet a client. Suddenly, my ex appeared at the restaurant. The client was excited to see the president himself. The mood was great. Then Chinar got a call. His parents got hurt in a fight at home. He rushed back. He left the project to us. The meeting went smoothly. The clients praised me a lot. Afterward, my ex tried to talk to me. I asked, so this is why you came, he admitted. I didn't want to stay a second longer. He ran after me. I told him to stop following me. He said his marriage was just a deal. He begged me to give him one more chance. I was speechless. I said, I don't want to be the other woman. The day you proposed to her, it was over between us. The next day, I asked him to meet me on the rooftop at night. When he arrived, I gave a signal to Shinar. He announced that the overseas project was finally secured. Everyone clapped. I said I'd go with him overseas. The crowd cheered for us, but my ex was upset. He asked Shinar why he didn't know about this. They argued fiercely. The night, they left on bitter terms. The next day, my flight was about to leave, but Shinar still hadn't shown up. I was worried. Suddenly, someone sat next to me. I turned my head. It was my ex. My ex-husband removed me from the overseas project. He forced me to go back home. I left in anger. He quickly chased after me. I asked why he made decisions for me. He said because he was my boss. I was speechless. He told me to meet him at the hotel restaurant that night to hand over the project. At night, I went to the restaurant, but the new manager didn't show up. I asked why there were only 2 of us. He smiled and asked if I knew what day it was. I looked at my phone. Then I realized it was our wedding anniversary. Back then, we had no money for a honeymoon. A bouquet of flowers and a simple dinner made me happy. He once swore he would book an entire 5-star restaurant for us, only the two of us, having dinner together. Thinking of this, my eyes filled with tears. A 5-star restaurant, a dinner for just the two of us. That was once my dream. He looked smug. I stood up and left. He quickly ran after me. I asked him angrily what he really wanted. When I opened my heart, you married another woman. Now you won't let me go. He kept repeating it was all his fault. He said he couldn't live without me. I broke down. Why are you doing this to me? He pulled me into his arms. He said everything would pass. I came back to my senses and pushed him away. I told him I don't want to be the other woman. Then I walked away without looking back. The next day, he called me to his office for work. As soon as I arrived, he shut the door. He told me they would divorce soon. He said he would fix all his mistakes. He asked me to wait for him. I turned and left and told him, "Don't touch me until you're divorced." He agreed. That night, his wife came to me. She threw a pile of photos at me. She threatened me and said I had to make things clear with him. If not, she would give the photos to the media. Public pressure would destroy him. He would lose everything. I stood there in shock. I went to the beach. After thinking hard, I called my ex-husband. He came right away. He asked me what happened. I told him it was over. I've had enough of him. He grabbed me and asked if his wife did something. I quickly explained. I told him I liked his friend Shinar. The next day, his wife came to thank me. She said now she had the chance to comfort him. I warned her to keep her promise. She can't hurt my ex in any way. Soon, Shinar came to invite me to the company's celebration party. I pretended to be sick. I didn't want to go, but he insisted he would pick me up that night. That night, I walked into the party with Shinar. I smiled and greeted everyone, but my ex-husband kept staring at me. A colleague asked the boss to give a speech. My ex-husband went on stage, but his eyes never left me. He said thank you to those who stayed with him through hard times. Hearing his words, I smiled without thinking. Soon, Shinar asked me to go outside with him. He said he had something to tell me. Suddenly, he held my hand. He started confessing to me. I wanted to refuse right away, but then my ex-husband walked out. He kept staring at us. I didn't refuse immediately. I listened to Chinar's confession. When I saw my ex-husband leave, I quickly pushed Chinar away. He said his sister told him I liked him. That's why he confessed. I hurried to explain. I told him it was just an excuse to reject my ex. I never thought he would like me. He was disappointed. He turned and left. I went back to the party. My ex-husband stopped me. He said he didn't believe I could like someone else. He said he would always wait for me. The next day, my best friend came to me. She told me to tell her the truth. I told her about his wife's threats. She scolded me and said I was a fool. She said my ex didn't only care about the company, but I didn't want to see his hard work destroyed. She asked why I never tried to face things with him together. Every time, both of us fought alone. I fell into deep thought. That night, I called my ex-husband. I decided to tell him everything, but he didn't pick up. So I sent him a message. I asked him to meet me at the villa he bought for me. When I got his reply, I was happy. I went to the villa to wait for him, but to my surprise, the one who came was his wife. My ex-husband's wife questioned me. She asked why I told the truth. I shouted back, "I'm not afraid of you." Then I turned to leave, but she pushed me hard. I fell, hit my head, and blacked out. When I woke up in the hospital, my ex's wife Sala warned me. She said if I spoke the truth, she would tell my dad I was a homewrecker. She said she would destroy me. I told her even if I stay quiet, he won't stay with you. She told me not to worry. At that moment, my family entered the room. They asked me what happened. Shala gave me a warning look. I had no choice. I said I fell by accident. She satisfied and left. My sick father came to see me. He asked everyone to leave. He wanted to talk to me alone. He told me to stay away from my ex. Don't ever mess with him again. I told him I'd never do anything that disgraces my family. After my parents left, my ex snuck into the room. He touched my head, asking if it hurt. I wanted to push him away, but I had no strength. He asked why I went to that house. I pretended to be calm. I said I only wanted a last goodbye. I told him I already loved someone else. He wished me happiness. Then he left, disappointed. After leaving the hospital, I went back to work. As soon as I arrived, Chinar greeted me. He covered my eyes, saying he had a surprise. When I opened my eyes, all my co-workers were there. They sang happy birthday to me. They held a party just for me. I was so happy. Chinar told me he was glad he met me. I hugged him back. Right then, my ex appeared. The two men started fighting again. I stood there, helpless. After that day, my ex never came back to the company. The office was in chaos. I heard from Shinar that many big clients left. He was exhausted. I found my ex's assistant and asked where he was. I don't want to see the company he built with sweat just fall apart. The assistant took me to him. I told him to go back to work, or the board would remove him. He said he didn't care. He said he had nothing left to lose. I was furious and shouted, "Do you know how much I gave up for you?" He froze. I suddenly realized I slipped up. He begged me to tell him the truth. I said there was nothing. He got angry. He told me to get out of his sight. I went to the beach. I called my best friend. I wanted to vent, but she was at work and couldn't come. I was losing my mind. I had no one to talk to. Suddenly, I thought of Chinar. I called him, but after a few words, it felt wrong. So I hung up. I sat at the beach, helpless. Then Chinar appeared. He said he would listen to me. I broke down crying hard. He pulled me into his arms. After crying, I felt lighter. I thanked Chinar for being there, but I told him this problem can only be solved by me. The next day, I calmed myself down. I decided to tell my ex the truth. I went to the beach, but I saw him with Chala. I turned and ran back to the office. I went to Chinar's office. I asked if he still liked me. He said yes, always. I held his hand and said, I want to be with you. To get back at my ex, I accepted his best friend's confession. Chinar invited me to the bar that night. I felt I needed to relax, so I agreed. But our laughter was seen by my ex. That night, we went to the bar. I saw my ex standing in the distance. They came to greet us. Chinar pulled me close. He held my hand. My ex wished us fun and walked away, but his eyes never left me. Then the singer started a song. My ex and I looked at each other. Memories came back. It was our favorite song. We were so in love back then. Now everything had changed. He held his wife's hand. They walked to the dance floor. She wrapped her arms around his neck and looked straight at me. My eyes filled with tears. I made an excuse to go to the bathroom. On my way out, I bumped into my ex. He told me I couldn't be with Chinar. He said Chinar was a playboy. I was speechless. I said, you dare talk about others? He said, I know you're only with him to make me mad. That made me furious. I sneered and walked away. I found Chinar. When I saw my ex walk back to the dance floor, I wrapped my arms around Chinar's neck and kissed him. From the look in my ex's eyes, I knew I got what I wanted. The next day, I invited Chinar to my family restaurant. My ex came by with his wife to visit his mother. I saw my mother-in-law. She once treated me badly. Now she was so kind to his wife. Later, my dad told us someone had paid off all our family's debts, but he didn't know who. Chinar asked if my ex knew about it. I stayed silent. When closing time came, I wanted to explain to Chinar, but he rushed to my ex. He asked if my ex paid off the debt. My ex admitted it. Chinar said, this has nothing to do with you. I'll pay you back. My ex said, I lived in this family for years. Do I need your permission? I stepped in and stopped them. I said my debts are mine to pay. Then I walked away. I got a call. My brother and my ex's sister had eloped. We asked everyone, but no one knew. Then I remembered. Grandpa had a cabin in the mountains. My brother loved it. Maybe they were hiding there. We rushed to the cabin, but they weren't there. On the way back, the car broke down. The tire was flat. My ex tried to call for help, but there was no signal. We had to stay the night in the cabin. The next morning, I woke up. He had already made breakfast. I asked where he got the food. He said he walked down the mountain early to find help. We finally sat and ate calmly. He suddenly said, if we weren't so stubborn, we wouldn't have broken up. I lost my appetite. I asked why he said that. When you seemed so happy with your wife. He said he wasn't happy at all. He said everything he did was to make me mad. I told him I saw with my own eyes how happy you were on the boat with her. He argued he was drunk that night. He didn't even know what happened. He said if you hadn't hugged Chinar, I wouldn't have been so hurt. I said I was heartbroken too. I saw you give up on yourself. I couldn't help you. That's why I was so sad. I said Chinar hugged me only as a friend, but my ex didn't believe me. I broke down. I finally told him the truth. I said we were filmed overseas. Your wife threatened me. She said she would ruin you. He asked why I didn't tell him earlier. I said I tried, but your wife always stopped me. He was furious. At that moment, my assistant drove up. I got in the car without looking back. The next day, the board held a meeting. Chinar accused my ex of neglecting work. He asked to remove him as CEO. Everyone raised their hands in agreement. My ex said nothing. He got up and left. I told Chinar not to act on impulse. Kicking him out now would hurt the company, but Chinar didn't care. He even blamed me for defending my ex. I didn't expect that from him. We argued and parted on bad terms. After we calmed down, Chinar asked to break up. I agreed. We decided to go back to being friends, but 2 days after my ex left, the company fell apart. Many clients left. Chinar yelled at the staff. He forced them to work overtime. My ex's wife blamed everything on me. She made me redo reports. I was fed up. I threw the report in her face. I quit on the spot. Then I went to my ex's office. He was shocked to see me. He asked why I came. I said I had quit. I had no job now. He said, I already saved a spot for you. I looked at the crystal ball on the desk. We both knew what it meant. Then, something amazing happened. One by one, our co-workers quit too. They all came to support my ex. Together, we started fresh. Everyone was full of energy, and our love kept growing stronger. My ex-husband gave up the whole company just to divorce his wife. When I heard the news, I was shocked. I rushed to find my boyfriend, Chinar. I told him not to act on impulse. If he pushed my ex out now, the company would suffer serious damage, but he accused me of still defending my ex. I couldn't believe he saw me that way. We ended in anger. After cooling down, he asked for a breakup. I agreed. We decided to just be friends. But I was right. Chinar became CEO for only 2 days, and the company was a mess. Clients left one by one. He yelled at the staff, asking if the company could not run without my ex. He forced them to work overtime. The next day, my ex's wife came to make trouble for me. I was speechless. I threw the report in her face and walked away. Later, I heard my ex rented an office to start again. I decided to support him. When I showed up, he was shocked. I said I had resigned and had nowhere to go. He instantly understood. He said he had already saved me a desk. I looked at the crystal ball on the table. Then I looked at him. We were finally standing on the same starting line again. And the surprises didn't stop there. One by one, employees quit the old company to follow him. The small office was full of energy. Our feelings grew stronger. Soon, his idea attracted investors. They liked it, but they refused to work with him. They didn't want to fight his old company. He came back to the office guilty. Looking at the hopeful staff, he comforted them. One failure is nothing. He promised to lead them out of trouble. Meanwhile, his old company was in chaos. The software broke. No one could fix it. Chinar cursed the staff as useless. One day, Chinar suddenly changed his mind. He found my ex and asked him to return. To avoid betrayal again, my ex asked to merge the two companies and sign a new deal. That night, I walked beside my ex. He told me about the merger. He said he didn't want his people to lose their jobs. I said, I understood. He looked at the crowd and sighed. He said nothing had changed. You are still by my side. I still love you. I felt bitter and angry. I called him shameless. He looked at me deeply and kissed me. I came to my senses and said I hadn't forgiven him. He ran after me, apologized, and said he would wait for me forever. The next day, he went back to the company. Things started to get better. He called me to his office and said he was going to court for divorce. He asked me to wait at our secret place. I acted tough and said no. He said he would wait at the beach anyway. I held back my smile and left. I went to the beach early. When I turned around, I saw him standing far away. From his face, I understood everything. I held back my tears. He told me sadly his wife was pregnant. My heart broke. I told him to be a good father. That night, he came to me again. He said he would be a good father, but his future would never have her in it. He begged me to help him find the truth. I couldn't accept it. I left in a hurry. The next day, his assistant found him. He suspected his wife had another man. Once, someone sent her flowers with a flirty note, but no name. My best friend told me the assistant had overheard her talking to another man on the phone. Early the next morning, his wife came to my office to show off. I couldn't take it anymore. I said, I'll wait for the day the truth comes out. I turned to leave. She stopped me and mocked me. You've been married so long and still no child. Should I let you be the godmother? Her words cut deep. I stormed to my ex. I agreed to work with him. This time, I swore I would expose that woman's true face. My ex-husband's wife was pregnant, but we suspected the baby was not his. To uncover the truth, I agreed to work with my ex-husband. Soon he took action. He made an appointment with a doctor to check the baby. His wife Chala panicked. She rushed to make excuses. Seeing her so nervous, my ex-husband was even more certain of his doubts. When they were almost at the doctor's house, she suddenly got a call. She said her father had high blood pressure. They had to rush home. My ex-husband wanted to see him, but she stopped him at the door. The next day, I saw Chala give a man a check, but he tore it into pieces. I couldn't hear what they said, but something was definitely wrong. On the way back, she suddenly felt stomach pain. I rushed her to the hospital. Then I called my ex-husband. While waiting, I remembered my own painful past. I once lost a baby. Soon, my ex-husband arrived. She happily said the baby was safe, but her brother's face looked strange. That night, I called my ex-husband. I told him I saw Chala with another man. He wanted to confront her, but I stopped him. If he rushed in, she would never tell the truth. He was losing his mind. He didn't want her to get away with it. I told him to stay calm. We could set a trap. So my ex-husband called Chala. He said he would take her home. That way he could watch over her. She was overjoyed. The next morning, she made him breakfast. She told him she wanted a new house. He agreed. Suddenly, her phone rang. She quickly hung up when she saw the name. My ex-husband acted like he saw nothing. On the way to see houses, her phone rang again. She said it was just ads. My ex-husband only smiled. That night, my ex-husband asked to meet me. He told me everything. We both felt it was time to expose her. The next day, my ex-husband pretended to go on business. Right after he left, Chala also walked out. We followed her. She went to a country house. We waited in the distance. Just when we thought it was useless, a sports car arrived. Her brother and father got out. We were shocked. My ex-husband said this was no coincidence. At that moment, his assistant called. We rushed to the office. The assistant showed us a news article. It was about Chala's fiancé who once ran away from the wedding. The man in the photo was the same one she met secretly. My ex-husband was thrilled. He said this time we finally found the man. The next day, I saw in a magazine that her ex-fiancé would join a competition. I wanted to drag my ex-husband to confront him, but he had another plan. He invited Chala to dinner. The place was the restaurant where her ex-fiancé was eating. They both pretended not to see each other, but my ex-husband held her hand. He walked straight to the man's table. The two still acted like strangers. My ex-husband exposed their lie on the spot. Her ex-fiancé finally gave in. He admitted he had been chasing her all along, but she refused to be with him. My ex-husband didn't believe it. He turned and stormed off in anger. Shala ran after him, crying about her innocence. But my ex-husband cut her off. He firmly said, "We will do a DNA test." To confirm if my ex-husband's wife cheated, he asked for a paternity test. The result broke me completely. He begged me not to give up on him. He said he would never love Chala. I shook my head. I said, "The child is innocent. You must be a good father." This time, we had to accept the truth. On the way home, I made a decision. I told my best friend I would work overseas. This time, I would leave quietly. She didn't want me to go, but she promised to keep my secret. The next day, I still went to the office. Ozan saw me and thought everything was normal, but he didn't know. This would be the last time we met. That day, he took me to an island for business. The return ship was canceled. He said, "Why not have a date just for us?" I agreed. We turned off our phones. We rode bikes through the streets. We ate ice cream. He picked a necklace for me. We enjoyed this late date. At night, we returned to the hotel. I told him, "Today is my happiest day. I will never forget it." He sensed something was wrong. He asked if I was hiding something. I forced a smile. I said, "It's just been so long since I was this happy." After saying goodnight, I pushed him out of my room. But that night, I could not sleep. I wanted to see him again. I gathered my courage to go find him, but he opened the door at the same time. We looked at each other. We could not hold back anymore. We kissed deeply. The next day, before he woke up, I left. I put a letter on the bed. When he opened his eyes, I was already on the plane. I left this place of sorrow. When I went abroad, I found out I was pregnant. I worked with my belly. I lived with loneliness. I cried many nights. One day, Shinar came to surprise me, but he found out I was pregnant. He did not care the child was my ex-husband's. He chose to stay and care for us. Soon he proposed to me. I said no, because it was unfair to him. Then Chala called him. She showed him her new home. She looked so happy. I realized only I was stuck in the past. I said yes to Shinar. I decided to start over. Years later, I returned with my son. I came for my brother's wedding. On the street, I ran into Ozan. We froze. Our first meeting after years was so sudden. I acted calm. I reached out to greet him. He turned away in anger. Back home, I found my son missing. I ran outside. I saw my ex-husband with him. Father and son face to face, but strangers. My heart ached. Ozan picked him up. Then he saw me standing nearby. My son shouted, "Mom!" Then Shinar came. My son shouted, "Dad!" He ran into his arms. Ozan said goodbye and left fast. The next day, Chala invited us to her daughter's birthday. I saw my ex-husband play with my son. She pulled him to take family photos. They looked happy. I felt lost. At that moment, Chala's father got a call. He called her to the room. Soon, he fainted. When he woke up, he gathered everyone. He said he would retire. He gave the company to Chinar. I was shocked. That meant I had to stay too. I left in anger. Chinar ran after me. He asked how long I would keep running. My son also got upset. He said he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay with Chinar. I told him we could come back later. Then I put him to sleep. The next morning I woke up and he was gone. We searched everywhere. My ex-husband asked what happened. When he heard, he drove me to search together. We went to the coast. We asked people, but no one saw my son. Just when I was breaking down, my ex saw him on a bench. I ran and hugged him. I asked why he ran away. He said he didn't want to go abroad. In the car, I told my ex after the wedding I would take him back to London. He told me to stay. He said the child needs a father too. I stayed silent. My son loved him. When Shinar saw this, he lost control. He warned my ex to stay away. I stopped them. I explained my ex helped me find my son. But Shinar accused me again. He said I was still tangled with my ex. I got angry. I told him to calm down before speaking. Later, I went to a cafe to be alone. A strange man sat across from me. He said, "I didn't expect you to return so soon." I asked if he mistook me. He called my name and said he knew my story with Ozan. I felt violated. I tried to leave. He stopped me. He said, "I know why you left the country." Then he walked away. I froze. How could he know my secret? Who was he? A man appeared in front of me. He said he knew my story with my ex-husband. He even said he knew my secret. Who was he? I rushed to my ex-husband's office. I told him everything. I said this man came for us. My ex-husband got angry. He wanted to go find that man. I tried to stop him, but he ignored me, then slammed the door and left. He went to that man's company. The man said he had been waiting for him. He said he knew my ex-husband very well, and that I was his weakness. My ex-husband was shocked. He asked why this man knew him. He warned him to stay away from me. The man told him to control his temper. My ex-husband patted his chest and walked away. Later, my brother married his sister. I stood as a witness with my ex-husband. Suddenly, that man showed up. He even talked to my ex-husband's sister. My ex-husband rushed over to stop him. He dragged him outside. and asked why he came here. The man said he was here for his own sister's wedding. My ex-husband could not believe it. The man looked at him and said, "Believe it or not, I am your brother." Then he turned to leave. But before leaving, he teased me on purpose. My ex-husband almost hit him again. I quickly stopped him. I told him to control his temper. Back at the wedding, I saw my ex-husband was still upset. I told him not to show it on such a happy day, but my husband saw us. He made an excuse and pulled me away. At home, I saw Chinar sitting in the living room. He looked upset. I asked him what was wrong. He suddenly broke down. He shouted, "Do you know how I lived these 5 years? You only see him. Can't you look at me once?" I told him to calm down and talk later, but he grabbed me. He begged me to give him a chance. I said, "You promised this marriage was for the child, but I still have no feelings for you." Then I walked away. The next day, that man stopped me on the road. He told me how unfair his father had been. I didn't want to hear it. I turned to leave. He threatened me. He said he would hide my secret if I gave him my ex-husband's client info. I thought about it again and again. I decided to tell my ex-husband the truth, but he had no time to listen. His wife used their daughter to stop him from leaving. He hadn't seen his daughter in days. I had no choice. I told Shinar about it. When he heard that I wanted to confess, he told me not to worry. He said he would handle it. The next day, Chinar held a board meeting. A familiar face walked in. It was my ex-husband's brother. He came in as a shareholder. My ex-husband was shocked. He refused to let him in the management. Then he stormed out. I asked Chinar why he did this. He said he gave his shares to my ex-husband's brother, and it was to protect the family. But I knew he did it to fight my ex-husband. I decided to tell my ex-husband everything. I rushed to his office. I saw him arguing with his brother. Then I heard the last thing I wanted to hear.
Atlas senin oğlun.
I rushed to my ex-husband's office to confess, but I heard the last thing I wanted to hear.
Atlas senin oğlun.
He looked at me in disbelief. He asked if it was true. I admitted it. He turned away in anger and left. Back home, I started packing my bags. Chinar rushed to apologize. He said he should not have used me and the child as a bet. I asked for a divorce. I told him my ex-husband already knew everything. I could not stay here any longer. No matter how he begged me, I would not change my mind. That night, my ex-husband asked me to meet him at the beach. He angrily asked why I hid so much from him, why I let his son call another man Dad. I was furious. I shouted back, "What do you want me to do? You already have a family. You already have a child. Would telling you have helped?" He swore he would find a solution. I snapped, "Your solution is to make me your mistress, to let my child live without a name. You only blame others. You never reflect on your own mistakes." He broke down. He shouted that I should never have run abroad alone. I told him I did it to protect my child. Only by staying away from his wife could my child stay safe. The next day, he learned from his lawyer that while he missed the divorce hearing, a man went to see his wife. She was very nervous. The same day, I heard from my secretary. Chinar booked 2 tickets to London, one for him, one for my son. I called him again and again. No one answered. At that moment, my ex-husband walked over. He asked what happened. I told him Chinar wanted to take my son abroad. He immediately drove me to the airport. I almost broke down. Then my mother called. She said my son was with her. She told me not to worry. I rushed home to confront Chinar. I asked why he did it. He apologized and agreed to divorce. Looking at his lost face, I told him no matter what, I was grateful for all his years with me. He lowered his head in shame and admitted he had hidden many secrets. Finally, he confessed everything. The next day at my ex-husband's divorce hearing, his wife tried to withdraw the divorce, but his lawyer stood up. He called for another witness. His wife froze. She looked at the door in shock. Suddenly, her ex-fiancé walked in. My ex-husband told her he already knew the whole truth. 6 months later, my son's school held a parent meeting. The principal praised his good behavior. She said it must be because of a happy home, and our marriage must be strong. Suddenly, my ex-husband grabbed my hand. He smiled and said, "We think so too." I told the principal, "For our child, we will do anything." The principal praised us again, saying we were model parents. The moment we left the school, we started arguing. I asked him why he held my hand. He snapped back, "If not for the child, I wouldn't bother." I mocked him. "Wasn't it you who begged me to marry you?" In the car, we still argued. Maybe this is how we are. Even in fights, we never stop loving each other.